Moving under Rule 53, I would like to present this very short report. And now to begin by tabling a copy thereof about an oversight visit that I held together with some colleagues to Roko Construction Company. Governments world over have increasingly invested in private companies to stimulate economic growth, foster innovation, and address strategic national interests. These investments can take various forms, including equity shares, loans, grants, and subsidies. While the government investments can provide crucial support to private enterprises, they also raise important questions about the role of the state in the economy, potential risks to public finances, and the effectiveness of such interventions. In recent years, governments have invested heavily in private companies across various sectors, from technology and healthcare to infrastructure and energy. These investments aim to promote entrepreneurship, create jobs, and drive economic development. However, they also involve significant risks, including the potential for inefficiency, corruption, and misallocation of resources. Roko Construction Company Limited, established in 1969, is one of the players in Uganda's construction industry. It has played a role in the development of major infrastructure projects, including government buildings, roads, and other key facilities. Despite its long history, Roko has faced financial difficulties in recent years, prompting the government of Uganda to intervene. In July of 2022, the government of Uganda gave a financial bailout to Roko Construction Company Limited to rescue it from financial collapse. This intervention entailed the government acquiring shares in Roko as part of an equity investment to keep the company afloat. Government said the decision to bail out Roko was aimed at saving the jobs of thousands of employees and ensuring the continuation of critical government infrastructure projects that were under construction by this company. The proposal for the government to acquire 150,000 preference shares in Roko Construction Limited was tabled here in Parliament on 7th July 2022, and it was accompanied with a letter of no objection from the Attorney General's chambers. This proposal was referred to the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and the committee reported back to the House on 20th July 2022, recommending approval. In spite of concerns raised by a number of us here in the House, Parliament insisted on approving this motion to procure the shares. The entire transaction was to cost the government of Uganda 207.13 billion shillings, with additional share premium of 56.2 billion in financial year 2024-2025. The total thereof being 263.33 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, some of the key aspects of this bailout. One, government equity investment. The government invested this money, which is approximately 55 million US dollars, into Roko Construction Company by buying a stake in the company. The majority shareholders include a couple of people, one called Man Francis Kola, 12,000 shares, Fried Helm, 1,500, another called Kurt Walter, 1,500. This move would ensure that the government becomes a shareholder in this company, giving it leverage in decision making. Two, there was the aspect of protection of jobs. Roko says it employs 1,800 Ugandans, 1,800 Ugandans directly, and has indirect business relationships with thousands of others, including subcontractors, suppliers, and others. The government's bailout was intended to prevent massive layoffs and the potential for economic ripple effects. Three, completion of government projects. Roko was involved and continues to be involved in several strategic government projects, including the completion of the Parliament building, Cancer Institute in Mulago, Ministry of Finance building, and several others. The government's stake was meant to ensure that these projects continue without delay, as the collapse of Roko would lead to delayed completion of these projects. However, To date, some of the infrastructure projects that were fronted as a reason for the approval of this investment have not been completed. A case in point is the Parliamentary Chambers, IGG House, among others. Right, Honourable Speaker and colleagues, as you know, Parliament spends billions on an annual basis to rent for office space for members and staff at Kingdom, Kampala, Queen's Chambers. Would not be spending this money if our parliamentary chambers were completed. The other aspect was financial restructuring. The bailout also involved a financial restructuring plan to help Roko manage its debt. Roko had accumulated a significant liability with commercial banks, contractors and suppliers, which had led to liquidity challenges. Let me briefly, as I begin to wrap up, talk about the oversight visit that we held to the office. In fulfillment of Section 6A and E of the Administration of Parliament Amendment Act of 2006, I led a delegation of some members of the Shadow Cabinet to visit this company's head office, but we were denied access. Aware that Roko Construction had received a bailout from Government of Uganda, the objective of the oversight visit was to ascertain whether the rationale for the bailout was achieved, and as well to establish if the governance and management challenges of Roko were being addressed. However, it should be noted that this oversight visit did not come to fruition, as I have mentioned, because Roko head office located in Kawempe, Tula, and that was meant to be on Monday, 14th October when we went there, we were denied entry to the premises to have an engagement with the management team, thus impeding this oversight engagement. In a letter, the managing director, Mark Kohler, said that the board had rejected the planned engagement with members of parliament and the company's management. Our areas of concern, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues: government construction projects have continued to stall despite this bailout, and this raises a lot of questions. I've talked about the parliamentary chambers, whose target of completion was July 2021, but that's not happened yet. The current shareholding is unclear, and government needs to clarify this, Right Honourable Speaker. It is not known as to whether amendments were made to include Government of Uganda investment and how much Government of Uganda owns in equity, what type of shares, and so on. Government owed a nation to this effect. 3, government ought to appraise Parliament on the latest financial standing of this company, given that government approached Parliament with a bailout request. I think it's prudent, Right Honourable Speaker and members, that the House deserves to be given accountability of this bailout money. Government cannot just come to Parliament when it requires money, and when we are asking questions, government is missing. It's important that this taxpayers' money is accounted for. So we ask, did the financial status of the company improve? What is the status of loan repayments and payment of suppliers? What is the status of ongoing projects by the company, especially the government projects? Staff of the company have regularly reached out to legislators, Right Honourable Speaker, complaining about not receiving salaries for close to 4 months. Is government aware of these concerns by employees? And is government keeping an eye on this company in which it injected taxpayers' money? Are we not bothered by these concerns of Ugandans? In conclusion, Honourable Speaker and members, while the government of Uganda financial intervention towards Roko Construction Company Limited was aimed at preserving jobs, continuing important infrastructure projects, and maintaining stability in the construction sector, the glaring concerns about project delays, financial transparency, and governance reforms need to be urgently addressed. For purposes of transparency, the Attorney General should be required to lay before the House the share agreement with Roko. Parliament has the right to know. As people's representatives, we call for continued vigilance to ensure public funds are used efficaciously and that the interests of Ugandan workers and taxpayers are protected. Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A report from Finance and from Attorney General in regard to this report.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And I do that we shall bring a report about the issues the LoP has raised. However, I have one clarification I would like to seek from him. Madam Speaker, I've been here long enough to qualify as a senior member of this House. I have done several oversights in this House as a backbencher. Did I hear properly from LoP that he went to do oversight at Roko head office? If that is the case, what kind of oversight do we do at headquarters of some of the entities which we have interest in? And number two, what is the procedure of doing oversight? I am wondering how someone representing this Parliament, because Madam Speaker, we leave this House, this building, officially, how would someone be denied access when this person has been officially? Therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to know what kind of oversight did the LoP go to do at the local head office?
Honorable members, let's get a response. I'm going to bring a written response. I want a written response. He just wants a clarification,
That's okay.
which is simple.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I want to acknowledge the Minister's commitment to bring a response. Hopefully it will come. Many times government commits to bring responses and they don't. Hopefully it will come. Honorable colleague, I want to encourage you to reread the Constitution, to reread the Administration of Parliament Act, and to reread our rules of procedure, which provide for the functions of the leader of the opposition. One is to keep the government in check. Ours is an oversight role. And as I have emphasized, Honorable Speaker, it's actually not just my role. It is the role of all of us as parliamentarians. We follow taxpayers' money. We have gone to several entities. 2 weeks ago, we were in Amuru at a Tiak sugar factory because the government has injected 553 billion shillings. Management of Atiak received us and we held an engagement with them. And we appreciated that and we raised concerns. And Honorable Speaker, as you guided, I will also be tabling that report. We went today Biopharma. It's also a private company. But government has injected 723 billion shillings. And they Biopharma received us. And we had an engagement with them. And we raised our concerns. They raised responses. We still have concerns. We did the same thing. We wrote to Roko. And as always, we informed the Honorable Speaker of Parliament. In fact, when we were going to Loboa, just to take you a bit away, we did all the writings. The Minister of Health, who also received our letter, responded to my letter saying, LoP, I have received your letter. Unfortunately, I won't be able to join you because I had requested that she joins us. But she signed off by saying, I wish you well in this oversight visit. Of course, that smelled a rat. No wonder when we went, we met what we made, because even the Minister of Health had previously been locked out at Loboa Hospital. But anyhow, to do with Roko, same thing. We did right. And when we got there, the, Gateman or whoever gave us a letter saying, the MD has said the board has denied you access. We didn't go because we want to pry into the personal enterprise of this company. We wrote to them saying, we'd like to have an engagement with you. And when an entity does not have anything to hide, then you engage with legislators. We ask you questions that we do have, you respond, and then we bring a report. That's why we do this. And we don't go to entities which are entirely private. We go to entities where the taxpayer has injected billions of shillings. So please encourage Roko, if they have nothing to hide, they should be open to scrutiny. That's all that we had gone to do. Thank you.
Honorable members, much as the Speaker is a custodian of the law in the House, she or he is also a custodian of the privileges of the members of Parliament. When you go out there, I want to request both the leader of opposition and the committees that you give us ample time, always when you want to visit an institution. Like when you're going to attack, I even had to make sure that the road was clear for you. Because they locked the road. I kept in touch with the leader of opposition. When he was going to they actually wrote to my office asking if it was proper. I said it is very proper for a leader of opposition to come and visit you. But all said, Honorable Minister, we have our money that is with the Roko. We need to know how the money is being used. We need, and most importantly, what members are asking about this building here. This is our building. So you need to have an interface with the Roko and give a report to this House.
However, Madam Speaker, meeting of such a nature, if you wanted to meet the board of Roko, you would have invited them to Parliament. Site visit, you see the site.
There is a procedural matter. There is a procedural matter.
Thank you. In line with what the law presented, I have interest to know the criteria normally used for selection of companies to be bailed out. Therefore, I am seeking your indulgence whether it will not be prudent for the minister to include that in his response. Thank you so much. Right Honourable Speaker.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we have Uganda Housing and Construction Company here in Uganda. Why wouldn't government empower the Uganda Housing and Construction Company other than giving money to Roko, a Swiss company? We saw a number of our companies here in Uganda die. One, Zimwe, died. There was Sembule Empire, died.
Honorable members, there is no problem giving Roko money. But we want to see the value for the money that has been given to him. Huh? Next item.